The headline reads like a political blunder. Donald Trump tells Iran to get nuclear weapons. To the casual observer, this is incoherent. Why would an American president threaten his own security interests? The strategic reality is inverted. This was not a mistake. It was a calculated escalation designed to shatter the global taboo against proliferation. By explicitly stating that war will only end if Iran does not have nukes, Trump forces Tehran into a binary choice: submit or race for the bomb. Today we read this move as strategy, not as a morality play, and examine how threatening an adversary's acquisition of nuclear weapons is actually one of the most aggressive forms of coercive statecraft intended to reset regional deterrence through total confrontation rather than diplomacy. To understand why this rhetoric was never accidental, we must look at the specific targeting and frequency of the messaging in early 2025. On April 1st, President Trump referenced nuclear weapons over 20 times during a single speech, justifying military action against Tehran. This repetition serves two critical strategic functions. First, it validates hardline factions within Washington who have long preferred confrontation over negotiation, effectively signaling that the era of diplomatic compromise is over. Second, and more importantly for our current analysis, it forces Iran into what strategists call a nuclear threshold dilemma, where ambiguity is no longer an option. In previous decades, states could maintain a gray zone regarding their capabilities to avoid triggering a war. By explicitly linking the justification for conflict directly to preventing nuclear acquisition, Trump removed that buffer. He made the existence of any potential program or even the intent behind it a casus belli, forcing Tehran to decide whether they will submit to American demands or accelerate their own path to deterrence through possession. Quick resource note. I keep a curated set of Amazon search links in the description for books, gear, and tools relevant to this channel's topics. Some are affiliate links, so I may earn a commission at no extra cost to you. Please consider supporting the channel by using those links if you find something useful. The execution of this threat followed immediately with kinetic action designed to prove the stakes were real and not just talk. In June 2025, the United States launched coordinated strikes known as Rising Lion and Midnight Hammer against Iranian facilities. The U.S. deployed 6 GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators specifically against Fort Au, a deeply buried facility that had previously been considered immune to conventional air power. These weapons are designed for hardened targets deep underground, indicating an intent not just to delay but to physically destroy the infrastructure of the nuclear program. Simultaneously, Tomahawk missiles struck facilities in Isfahan and Natanz. The human cost was equally specific. Israeli intelligence confirmed that at least 14 leading Iranian scientists were killed during these operations, a targeted effort to degrade technical know-how rather than just capacity. This combination of high-precision munitions and leadership decapitation sent an unambiguous message. The U.S. is willing to use overwhelming force to prevent proliferation, even if it means engaging in total war before negotiations can begin. This escalation culminated not in a return to diplomacy but in a fundamental shift toward regime-targeted warfare by February 2026. The strategy evolved from coercive strikes on nuclear sites into Operation Epic Fury and the Israeli Roaring Lion campaign. Unlike previous limited actions, these coordinated efforts targeted regime survival directly. On February 28th of that year, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed in a strike targeting leadership compounds. According to analysis by major geopolitical think tanks including Chatham House, this marks a definitive pivot from coercive diplomacy to total war aimed at strategic submission rather than a return to the negotiating table. The justification provided by U.S. and Israeli officials cited a 47-year adversarial relationship dating back to 1979, rejecting decades of ambiguity for decisive resolution. This shift implies that the goal is no longer just about nuclear non-proliferation and isolation, but about dismantling the political structure capable of pursuing it at all. The result of this strategy is a profound strategic trap for Tehran and its regional allies. Because the war was predicated on preventing a nuclear Iran, any resolution now requires a definitive answer to that specific issue. The United States has effectively removed the option of a negotiated settlement where Iran keeps its program or maintains an ambiguous posture. They have forced an open race or total capitulation. By breaking the taboo that states will not threaten each other with nuclear acquisition as a tool of coercion, Trump has cornered Tehran into a scenario where their only path to regime survival might be accelerating their own program, even if it guarantees further destruction. This validates U.S. hardliners who have long argued that diplomacy is futile and that confrontation was inevitable anyway. However, the viewer must understand that what looks like irrationality or blundering incompetence is often a calculated attempt to reset the rules of engagement in a region where ambiguity no longer serves American interests. The stakes here are not just about one country's weapons, but about how great powers manage crises when traditional deterrence fails and the only remaining tool is total force. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I am a one-person team working hard to make each video better than the last. Subscribe if you found value. It is the best way to show support. Drop a comment with your biggest takeaway. See you in the next video.